Hey everybody, today we're going to do an update on the old diet. We're going to see how much weight I lost, and I'm going to share my tuna fish salad recipe with you. Hang in there. The ingredients for the tuna fish salad that I eat over a 4 to 5 day period is as follows. I have 4 hard-boiled eggs that I chop up and put in the mix. Let me put that back on the stove for a second. I use 1 full tomato chopped up, usually in small little chunks. I use a half of a sweet onion, not regular onions, but a sweet onion, half chopped in small chunks. I use 4 cans of tuna fish. It doesn't matter if it's the dark or the white, but this is the regular chunk light tuna from, in water. So when I open that up, I'll squeeze all the water out. I use a cup of light mayonnaise. This only has 3.5 grams of fat in a tablespoon. You're eating this over 5 days. You have to have a little bit of fat, in this particular diet that I'm doing. So this is a real good way to do it, but it has no carbs. So that's just a cheap mayonnaise for flavoring. So between the tomato and the onion and the mayonnaise, it gives it a really nice flavor. And then of course I put a lot of celery. This is a filler. There's about 8 to 10 stalks of celery in here. Basically I'll take this out of the package, clean it all up, cut the tops and the bottoms off, and then I'll use half of the stalks and I'll save the other half for my salad, which we'll do in another video. So when you're all done, I'm going to show you this after everything's chopped up before I mix it up. When you're all done, you'll have a pretty good sized bowl about that big. And when you think about it, you're eating it over a 5 day period. So over 5 days, you're consuming a can of tuna fish, but it feels like you're eating a lot more because you're also consuming basically, let's think about a can of celery and a little bit of onion and a little bit of tomato along the way. So it's very filling, very low calorie, very low fat, and obviously the fish has a lot of good stuff in it that helps you out. You get a little bit of vegetables here. The celery has no calories. The onions have very little calories. The tomato's got a little bit of carbohydrates, but not too much because it's over time. And of course the mayonnaise is really just for flavor, which mixes with the juice from the tomato, and it all combines together to make a really good salad. So let me get all this chopped up and we'll be back in a minute. In prepping my onion and my tomato, I basically cut the onion and the tomato in half like that. Then as you can see, I took a knife just a little bit and cut around the bottom to get that out, and I pulled out that hard middle section. I'll cut that little bit out as well. So the onion used to look like that, and I just cut it in half. This is a really tart kind of part of the onion. It's not as sweet. It's hard to chop. That's why I just take a couple sections out with the knife. On the tomato, it's the same thing. I cut the tomato in half, and before I chop it up, I've cut around a little bit and just dug out this hard middle that's hard to cut. So you wind up with something like that. And then of course I'll just put them on and slice them all up really good. The celery is ready to go. I've chopped it all up. A lot of people like small little pieces like this. I prefer the bigger chunks, like you see it, because it's more filling and bulky when I eat it, and I tend not to eat as much because a lot of times not only will I eat this either for a lunch or a dinner, depending how I want to swap stuff around, I'll get really hungry at night or something and want a snack, and to thwart off the snack I'll either eat a pickle or I'll eat some olives, which are really good, or I'll just grab a big spoonful of the tuna fish salad that I made, and it's ready to go. Tuna fish is just drained, and the tuna fish I've drained into the little bowl that I'm going to make my tuna salad in, and what I'll do is I'll dump this outside or into another container. I don't want to dump it down in the sink. So that does 2 things for me. Number 1, I don't have to worry about cleaning the sink out. Number 2, I don't have to worry about clogging my drains. So it's kind of saved me a little bit of work catching it here first. It's not going to hurt anything in there, because when I dump it out, it just adds a little bit of natural oils to the tuna fish to make it taste better anyways. Unlike the celery, I like to take the onion and chop it up in really small pieces. The reason for that is there's nothing worse than when you get a spoonful of tuna fish salad that you think is going to be nice and sweet, and it's a big old stringy onion, you know, kind of makes it nasty. The tomatoes, I pretty much do the same. I take them and make them smaller pieces. These are actually cut, they just haven't fallen apart. There's a couple pieces I missed, but I try to make them really small for the same reason. The tomato and the juice in the tomato makes a nice flavor, but it doesn't taste good when you have a big hunk of tomato on top of your tuna fish. Put the tomatoes in first, it really doesn't matter, but that's what I do, just because it kind of puts some of that juice on there in the bottom, and later when I'm mixing stuff up, the mayonnaise doesn't stick as much. Then I add my onions, my celery, and I kind of mix this up a little bit just to get it mixed up. I don't add the tuna fish yet. The reason is I want to put my mayonnaise in and mix it real good. It's easier to mix. And then the very last thing I'll do is I'll put my tuna fish and my eggs in. So I'll get to that in a minute, but basically my cup of mayonnaise, if you look at this, that looks like a lot of disgusting mayonnaise. You don't have to use mayonnaise if you don't want to, but that's about a half a cup if I was to cram it in there. You know, so I got, sometimes I only use a half cup, but most of the time I use about 3/4 cup to a cup. That's generally enough. And I mix all that real good before I put the eggs in the tuna in there. You know, you can tell by the consistency once you're mixing and stuff just how much mayonnaise you want to use. But keep in mind, I don't eat bread because those are high carbs. So when I'm eating this, I'm eating it just the way it is. If you were adding it with bread, I wouldn't be adding more mayonnaise to it. You know, I would just, there's enough mayonnaise in here that you could eat it with bread if you wanted to, you know, and it'd still not be so dry that you couldn't stand it. We mixed all our tuna fish up with the mayonnaise and everything, and then I started adding the hard-boiled eggs. In order to cut my eggs, I use one of these egg cutters, but I just wanted to show you how I peel eggs. A lot of people don't peel them great. They only, you know, tap them once or twice like that, and they really try to bust on them. I just make sure they're busted pretty good all the way around, but not hard. And once you get a good spot started, you see this little skin right here? You don't want to break that skin, really. You're trying to, that's what's holding all the shell together. So if you kind of think like you're peeling a dollar bill and go like that, look how easy that comes off, because you're actually peeling that little skin. If you get your fingernail in there and you're trying to dig it out like this, and then that's when you start, you know, getting all the cracks, and then the flesh of the egg breaks and you have problems. Of course, then you just use your little egg tool like that, cut it twice each way, dump it in there, and that's the last mixing of the tuna salad that you have to do. Just a couple notes. Once again, I've saved all these lids because I put all 4 lids in one can and I throw it in the garbage can, and I don't have to worry about my trash bag busting, taking it out to the trash. Final note on this, I really like using these small spoons, wooden spoons, because they fit in the mayonnaise jar and they mix well. But a sharp knife, I can't tell you, you know, if you don't have a sharp knife, you're just asking for trouble, especially cutting tomatoes and onions. So I hope that's a good tip for you. You know, start off with a good knife, buy one somewhere, have somebody sharpen it professionally if you can't do it, but to maintain it, just go down to the Bass Pro or your Herb Phillipson or whatever store you got, Walmart, and look for one of these small sharpeners that has, you know, the steel sharpener on one side, which you use first, and then has the little honing rods on the other side, not 2 steel ones, because this is actually cutting and shaving away the edge of the knife. And then this is like a honing rod that you would do, but they're already set at an angle so you don't have to figure out how to do it, and that just keeps that edge polished and keeps your knife sharper for a longer time. Alright guys, it's time to check the scale and let's see where we're at these 2 weeks, okay? Alright, 272 pounds, no, 270 pounds. Woo! Victory is mine! Victory? Shoot, that ain't no victory. You was 270 pounds on the hoof last time. What kind of scam you trying to pull on us? Hey man, it was a victory, and I'll tell you why. Most people overeat during the holidays and put 5 or 10 pounds on. I'm no exception. I fell off the diet a couple times. I had a pizza, and during Thanksgiving I had some stuffing and some Cool Whip and pumpkin pie, and of course on the holidays here in Christmas I had chocolate chip cookies and Andy candies and all kinds of weird stuff my daughter got me, but I didn't put on an extra pound because the rest of the time I stuck to the diet. So Billy Bob, you know what, you toothless little booger, just put that in your corncob pipe and smoke it. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, there'll probably be another one popping up over here for you to watch. Or you can always hit our subscribe button that pops up here, or the little button down there. Don't forget, leave your comments down below, and I'll try to answer you when I can. So you have a great day, like our video, share it on Facebook or your favorite social site, and we'll catch you the next time around.